Welcome to the demo of CMS 365 Pages, KWIZ's SharePoint-based documentation platform that seamlessly integrates with Microsoft Teams. In this demo, we'll explore how CMS 365 can transform your organization's documentation process, making it more efficient, collaborative, and user-friendly. The focus of CMS 365 is documentation and note-taking, while also taking advantage of the security and productivity that the SharePoint ecosystem provides. Data does not leave your tenant, and you don't have to play the user license game. If your users have access to SharePoint, they have access to CMS 365. Let's start by looking at how CMS 365 integrates with your existing Microsoft ecosystem. First, let's install the app within Teams and SharePoint. Okay, as you see, I am in a newly created team, and I don't have any extra apps or anything installed into that team. So let's go ahead and install the app. I will go ahead and add a tab. Now, this does presume that the app has been installed in your tenant by a Teams or SharePoint admin. Soon we will have the app available within the Teams Marketplace and Microsoft App Source. So right now I can see it shows up as CMS 365. And I can post about it as I'm excited to post this to my channel. Let me click Save. And it goes up and shows up as a CMS 365 site within Teams. So let's go and take a look at what this looks like within the browser. I can click on the little icon here and open in browser, and it goes ahead and opens this team within the browser. Let's go and take a look at some ways to get started with installing documentation. I can go ahead and open up my dashboard. And within my dashboard, I have a bunch of options. I can look at importing some content. So if you were a past customer of KWIZ's WikiPlus product, which is our on-prem wiki product, and you've got content that has been exported from WikiPlus, you can click here and import that content as a zip file. You can also import from Teams Wiki. So back in the day, Microsoft had a wiki product within Teams that they got rid of. A lot of companies and users had content created in Teams Wiki, and if you didn't export that content by the time Microsoft got rid of it, it just sort of sits as orphaned content within your SharePoint system. So you can actually click on Teams Wiki, and it'll go and take a look as to whether there's any wiki content. This is a newly created site, so I didn't have any Teams wiki pages available within SharePoint. And I also have the ability to import from a CMS 365 content. So let's say I had content from another site that I wanted to import into this site. I can export from that site, import into this site, and away I go. So here we are looking at a CMS 365 go-to-market site that we created just to track all the documentation and the go-to-market process for some of our products. I've got some top navigation, and here you actually can set this as analogous to channels within your team. In fact, if you are adding the CMS 365 site into a team within Teams, and you've got channels of these same names, and you add that site within that channel, it'll automatically go to the appropriate tab on the top that corresponds with that channel. Let's look at the content creation and management features of CMS 365. Creating and managing content in CMS 365 is a breeze. With customizable page layouts, reusable content blocks, and an inline markdown editor, your team can focus on creating high-quality documentation without worrying about formatting. CMS 365 also automatically tracks authors, similar to Microsoft Learn, ensuring that you always know who contributed to a piece of content. The editing interface is hidden at first view. If you have access to the author role from within CMS 365, you can enable editing with this button in the top right. See, right next to the user picture is the view as reader or view as editor mode. So now I've clicked on that, and now I am viewing this as an editor. So I've got the ability to edit the page that I'm on. I've got the ability to add various categories to my left navigation. I can add different tabs on my top navigation. The nice thing too is I can just go ahead and add a bunch of categories and scaffold the documentation site that I want out and fill that content in later. This is, quite a departure from, let's say, SharePoint pages, where you are creating an individual page and then you're deciding where to add that page. Let's take a look at some of these features. First, let's take a look at page layouts. Page layouts can be defined at the section level or can be defined at the page level. So here I'm on a particular page. Let's take a look at the page layouts that are available for this page. Right now, this page layout is set to inherit the page layout setting of its parent. I can also select, let's say I want an article format with an image on the left. I can select this one. You can go ahead and manage page layouts, define more, or copy and modify the page layouts that are here. Another feature that is specifically for content editing is the use of reusable content blocks. Let's take a look at some of those. So once I go into the editing mode, I can actually see that this page layout defines two different zones that I can edit. I have a main zone where my content is, and I have a table of contents zone or a sidebar where I can add other content, and the table of contents also gets inserted there. Let's take a look at in terms of reusable content. So I'm in this page. Let's take a look at some reusable content features. So let's move this image down and let's insert maybe some header info. So here I've inserted a piece of reusable content that has different tokens that is defined by the system. So here it says prepared by and var authors, created by, it's a variable on the created date, updated, it's a variable for the modified date, and description. So now I can leave this and just have this independently entered, or I can actually edit this instance and have it be its own thing. So here now I'm editing this instance of reusable content and might add some additional information that's particular to this individual page. So now we can save this. And now it's saved. Let's take a look at some page tokens. So going back into edit mode, we have a bunch of tokens that I can insert. So tokens that correspond with the page title, page description, creation dates, authors, table of contents, Teams discussion. When this feature is available, I can insert the Teams discussion, additional resources, which has links to subpages, for instance, that are associated with that parent page, and just common date. So if I want to use the current date, the current month, or the current day, I can insert these tokens. We are also offering the ability in an upcoming release of creating custom tokens. So tokens that are particular to your independent project or company. And then you'll be able to access those in documentation mode. Let's have a bit of a discussion on the markdown interface itself. Markdown is similar to Wiki markup. It's a fast formatting markup that is used quite extensively now. It's used in Microsoft Learn documentation, for instance. It's used in a lot of social apps and sites. And we use Markdown just to make things simplistic in a documentation format. So you can not worry about markdown and just deal with the actual buttons up at the top, bolding something, italicizing, underlining, making something into a heading. Let's say I wanted to make this into heading 1. I can just do that. If I wanted to make this a heading 2, I can actually start doing some, if I know the markdown syntax, I can just start entering it. So 2 hash symbols and a space automatically invokes heading 2. If I want to make this into a bullet, again, I could select bullet up top, or I can just create, or I can just add a dash and a space, and it becomes a bulleted list. This content is Copilot aware. So I can right click on this content. I can ask Copilot about this specific highlighted term. It is available in most things viewed within an Edge browser, for instance, but the fact that we're not using any crazy proprietary file format and that this is viewed within a browser allows it to be Copilot aware. There are other features within this Markdown editor that we're using. We have the ability of inserting flowcharts, sequence diagrams, Gantt charts, class diagrams, state diagrams, pie charts, relationship diagrams, and a journey diagram. These are easily editable via text, and they show up as a nice graphic chart or diagram. We use this specifically in the Gantt area, as well as we've used quite a few different in our documentation, state diagrams, flow diagrams, relationship diagrams when we're doing product documentation. So again, that helps. The other features of this Markdown editor, if I wanted to insert a link, I can do that here. There also is syntax for adding a link manually, but it is easier to just create a link right now. So here I click on this, I'm actually seeing the link interface here. I can go ahead and edit that. I can search for any particular page within this particular CMS 365 site, or I can add an external link. I can add images. I can paste images from other content, and the system will automatically create that blob image into a real image and upload it into the CMS resources directory. I can also just go ahead and insert an image either that has already been inserted. So here, as you can see, I'm in the CMS resources directory and these images are already here, or I can go ahead and put an image in that exists somewhere within my computer. I can insert a table, I can insert a thematic break, I can insert a code block, I can insert an inline code format if I'm explaining code within my documentation, and I can also insert a YouTube video. So I'm going to create, here I'll create a new category. Let me just create something for So here, as you can see, I created a category, but this isn't actually a page. I can add some pages within here under this category, or I can convert this actual category into a page itself. So let me convert that into a page. So this is now a page that's called the same as the category that was done. Again, this allows me to scaffold out a bunch of navigation to be filled in with content later. So as I mentioned, I've already copied a bunch of content in. So let me go ahead and paste that. I just did a Control-C, Control-V. And now I'll have a whole bunch of content that I pasted in. Let's commit this and save it. And let's save it again. And now this is saved as a page. So it was quite easy to just grab content from another area and intelligently paste it. We actually do a lot of intelligent analysis of the copied content, and we try to clean that up as it's pasted in. So for instance, if you're copying content from within a Word document, it has a whole bunch of extra formatting and format information that the system won't understand. We strip that away and just let you deal with the raw content itself. If there's ever a content source that we don't handle nicely, you can always just paste it as text content and mark it up yourself. And also, please let us know through our feedback, and we'll make sure that we can add some support for intelligently pasting that content, especially if it's from a source that multiple people are working with. CMS 365 also provides sophisticated editing and search capabilities that set it apart from traditional SharePoint sites. You can view and restore previous versions of a page, ensuring that your documentation remains accurate and up to date. The platform also allows you to convert sections into subpages, creating a more structured and user-friendly navigation experience. Let's take a look at the version history feature first. I can go ahead and go into editing mode, and I can take a look at version history. So right now it actually shows that I have created 4 different versions of this document. I can go ahead and select one of these other versions, and now I'm looking at that version of the document, and I can go ahead and save that version. So maybe I want to commit back to that version. I can also take a look at what changes have been made since the last time that it has been saved. So let's go back into the editor, and you actually have a couple of different modes for the markdown editor that we're using. So by default it goes into rich text mode. You can look at a diff mode, and what this does is shows you how things have changed between the last version. And you can look at a source mode. So here we're looking at the actual markdown that is saved with that particular document. So you can see this is a markdown ordered list. This is a markdown unordered list. Here is markdown a link. So you can actually edit this information directly. So let's take a look at the split functionality. So the split functionality allows us to take a document that is a long document and split it into logical sections. So here at the end of this document, I have a meeting summary. This meeting summary, when I hover over it, I can see a link tag where I can copy a link to this particular section of the document, and I can paste this into a Teams chat, for instance, and the individual will go particularly to that page. I can also, if I have the editing role applied, I can select the split command and I can split this document. So this is going to go either to the end of the document or to the next tag at the same level. So this is an H2 tag, so it will go and grab everything to the next H2 tag. Or if there isn't one, it'll go right to the end of the document. So let's click on that. And as you can see here, it's going to drag, this is the H2. Now you see here, it's got 3 hashtags here, which is the H3 tag. And so it's taking me right to the end of this document. So I can click move this to a subpage. And what it does is it saves the underlying page as another version. And it moves that subsection into a subpage below that page. So now I'm on the meeting summary page. If I go into the parent page, at the bottom of this parent page, I actually have a link to that subpage automatically created. Finding content is quick and easy within the CMS 365 advanced search features. You can search within a page. You can search across pages. In fact, storing content as standard markdown text allows full integration with SharePoint search, which means that within a SharePoint interface, you can actually search and find CMS 365 pages and go to them. Let's go to the home page and start searching. So let's go brainstorm. So these are showing me subpages in a section I've got called brainstorm ideas. This is showing me a page that has brainstorm within that page. So I can go to one of these things. This is about public sites, which is a feature of CMS 365. the ability to push a private SharePoint site into a public site. CMS 365 also offers personalization features like user favorites, allowing users to showcase their most used pages for quick access. This feature can be designated at the top of an individual page while in edit mode, or from the home page of the site as a mass selection. So here I'm on the home page, and I can actually go and look at select feature pages. So I can go and select a bunch of pages that I want to feature on the home page itself. So let's say I wanted the CMS use cases feature. Let's add that one. Let's add my overview page, and let's add my roadmap page. So now I've added those, and then when I go to the home page, here are my feature pages. Also, when I'm on an individual page, I can go ahead and add an individual page to that. So here I'm on my app submission page. I can click that, and now that is made a feature page too. We're constantly working to improve CMS 365 with plans for future enhancements like custom page variables and an intuitive link picker that actually allows you to link to individual SharePoint or Microsoft 365 documents that are in your SharePoint system. By choosing CMS 365, you'll benefit from unparalleled integration with the Microsoft ecosystem, ease of migration from other platforms, enhanced usability, and cost-effectiveness. In conclusion, CMS 365 is more than just a documentation platform. It's a solution that understands and addresses the challenges organizations face in managing and publishing content. With its robust feature set, seamless integration, and user-centric design, CMS 365 is the premier choice for any organization looking to leverage SharePoint for documentation. Thank you for considering CMS 365.